I expect that most people doing this course are small business owners, and anyone who's been involved in business for any length of time is familiar with the concept of risk. As a business owner, you invest time, money and energy into an idea that has the potential to make money and provide you with the lifestyle that you want. But clearly, the payback on that investment is not a certainty. There's always a risk that your business will fail. Business owners manage that risk constantly. Your business is exposed to many dimensions of risk: financial risks, reputational risks, compliance and regulatory risks, competitive risks, health and safety risks, and probably a whole range of other dimensions of risk as well. Quite apart from our business risks, we're surrounded by risks in our daily lives as well. Over time, we've all become well practiced at instinctively managing our risks. Applying those instinctive skills to workplace health and safety risk isn't that difficult really. We just need to use some common terminology and standard processes so that everyone is on the same page. Workplace health and safety risk management is about identifying how someone could be harmed at work and then using effective control measures to prevent that harm from occurring. That starts with identifying hazards. A hazard is defined as any item that has the potential to cause harm. That might be a substance, a piece of machinery or equipment, a vehicle, an animal, or anything else that could cause harm to you, your staff, or your customers, or any other people in the workplace. Each hazard will present risks. Those risks are the actual harm that the hazard could cause. For example, in this picture, we're looking at a pure hazard. It's a tiger, showing us its very capable looking teeth. But since there aren't any people in the picture, there really isn't any risk, apart from maybe a risk of harm to the other tiger. In this picture, we're looking at a serious risk issue, where this young girl is placing herself at risk of being eaten alive. And then in this picture, what's happened to the hazard and the risk? The hazard remains exactly the same. It's still a very dangerous tiger. The risk still exists, but it's been drastically reduced by the use of a single control measure, a glass barrier. In this case, the barrier is likely to be almost 100% effective, so the general public can view the tiger without even really considering the risk. Most risk situations aren't as simple as this, but having a clear understanding of the difference between a hazard and the risks that arise from that hazard will help you to accurately evaluate those risks. So when you come across a hazard of any kind, the first question you need to ask yourself is, how can this hazard cause harm? It's important to realize that a single hazard may present more than one risk issue. Some of those risks might be obvious and others not so obvious. For example, a hazard such as an electric circular saw has the potential to cut your fingers off, but it also has a risk of causing damage to your hearing, indirectly causing damage to your eyes, and then there's also the risk of electrical shock if the cord isn't in good shape. But the real value of using the concept of risk is that it takes into account not only the consequences of a hazard, but also how likely that event might be. There's no point spending valuable time and money to reduce a risk that's very unlikely to happen, when there might be other risks that can cause harm on an annual or a weekly basis. Risk can usually be defined by a simple equation. Risk equals consequence times likelihood. Often a risk matrix can be used to calculate and visualize a level of risk. If we can evaluate all our workplace health and safety risks using the same estimations of consequence and likelihood, then we'll end up with a list of risks, each with a score, which is then easy to prioritize. That means we'll be dealing with our top risks first and investing our time and money where it's going to have the most effect on overall risk reduction. Taking a risk-based approach helps to ensure that you spend money and time where it matters, which isn't just good for health and safety, but it's one of the key rules for successful business. Much of what we've covered in this lesson will be familiar to you, but if you'd like some more guidance on the concept of risk, you could take a look at one of our other free courses, Know Your Risks, Make Better Decisions. Otherwise, let's press on and see how risk management can help you to provide a healthy and safe workplace.